What is up, guys? Wrestling Premier is here. This was one of the most bizarre title reigns in wrestling history. A jobber, well, not a jobber, that'd be disrespectful, but a lower mid-card guy who's probably the last guy on the roster you'll expect to win the title, bar the boss Spike Dudley, who in my opinion deserves a video, and Funaki. As a kid, I don't have memories of Bradshaw in the APA, and I always saw him as one of the top guys, but in hindsight, it's weird to see him win the title. It's like grabbing Tyler Breeze and making him WWE champion. Now, the Jinder one was shocking too, but watching JBL's, it's even more bizarre, because I remember around April 2017 hearing rumors that WWE's chasing the Indian market, and it was kind of clear. But still, the moment seeing Mahal win the title that was held by The Rock, Stone Cold, HBK, John Cena, it's weird. It meant that he suddenly became as good as the best on the roster. But in this video, we're talking about the guy who did this first, JBL. I covered JBL's WWE Championship reign, and I promised to have it follow Eddie's title reign, but that never happened. Nonetheless, here it is. John Bradshaw Layfield's title reign. If you haven't watched the Eddie one, you'll be missing out as we cover the entire rise of JBL in that video, so check it out. Now, before I start this video, let me just say that I was looking at my analytics, and I found out that 65% of you that watch my content aren't subscribed. So if you enjoy my content and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? I'm on the road to 50K, and hopefully we get there soon. I wish we could get there within a month, but I highly doubt it. So like I said, if you do enjoy the content, that's a big if, hit the subscribe button. Anyways, as we all know, JBL captured the WWE Championship at the Great American Bash. This victory was seen as a shocking move. It was like JBL all of a sudden became a world-class wrestler in kayfabe. He was losing to guys like Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty, and now he's beating guys like Eddie Guerrero. It was crazy. The fact that Bradshaw won the title means that anyone can win it. Obviously, he had the investor character, but still, this proves that you're one tweak away from the title. Seeing as he won the title, Bradshaw, or as he likes to be called, JBL, came out to the ring on the July 1st, 2004 episode of SmackDown to celebrate his victory. Bradshaw said that it's morning here in America, and it's the dawning of a new era, the era of John Bradshaw Layfield. He then promised everyone that he'll become the most popular WWE champion. He said that he'll prefer not to shake hands with people as he'll get sick, and then he took out his sanitizer and he cleaned his hands. He asked the fans to call him WWE champion, and Bradshaw continued trying to get the fans on his side, but they weren't having it. They wanted Eddie Guerrero. Bradshaw then stated that he wanted to prove that he's a fighting champion by defending his title that night. He then forgot what city he was in, and he refused to defend the title against Eddie Guerrero. He said that Eddie isn't man enough to come out here and shake his hand. JBL promised everyone he'll be a champion everyone could be proud of, and later that night, JBL selected a few candidates to face him in a title match. He teased everyone, and during this backstage segment, the Dudleys sucked up to him. JBL then announced that he's facing a Dudley for the title, and they were excited. They continued sucking up to him before JBL announced that he's facing Spike Dudley. On his way to the ring, JBL continued showing that he's a good guy before discovering Eddie Guerrero's lowrider. Seeing as Eddie was in the arena, this was a shocker. Anyways, Spike tried fighting and fighting during the match, but to no avail. And at one moment, Spike was on the brink of winning the title, but reality set in and JBL retained his title. Then all of a sudden, right after the match, Eddie Guerrero decided to come out. Latino Heat ran into the ring and he assaulted the new WWE champion. JBL ran the hell out of there, and Eddie then enlightened JBL on something. He revealed that he has a rematch clause, and that gives him the right to choose which type of match he wants. He announced that 2 weeks from tonight, JBL isn't going to face him in a normal match, but in a steel cage match. JBL was seething at this announcement. He didn't like this one bit. Now, about that match, it's one of my favorite SmackDown matches ever. I watched it the day I was working on the Eddie video, and I just loved it. It was a pay-per-view quality matchup on SmackDown. During the match, Eddie had the match won, but he decided to take the Jeff Hardy route, and he hit the frog splash from the top of the damn cage. God, what a memorable moment that was. Like, the thought of Eddie jumping off the top of the cage, and the fact that he landed on JBL's abdomen, man. And the technique, too, it was perfect. It was picture perfect. This ended up costing Eddie the match as El Gran Luchador, who was revealed to be Eddie the previous week, interfered, and he cost Latino Heat the title. Like, who was that guy? Last week it was Eddie, and this week we don't know who it was. Right afterwards, Eddie unmasked the Luchador, and it was revealed to be Kurt Angle, the SmackDown GM Kurt Angle. Everyone was pissed off at him. The crowd, the commentary, Eddie Guerrero, everyone was pissed. Meanwhile, JBL claimed that since he doesn't have an opponent for SummerSlam, there's no point in competing that night. But then, The Undertaker appeared. The hair on JBL's back was standing. He claimed that no one's worthy of challenging him, and now he's got The Undertaker. JBL at this point was petrified. He couldn't move out of the damn ring. He said that he wasn't talking about The Undertaker, and for a second, he said that he isn't scared of him before he backed off. He then announced that he can't face The Undertaker because he's already set to face Shannon Moore. JBL then gave The Undertaker the count of 3 to leave the ring. Obviously, the dead man didn't budge, and JBL decided to bring out an opponent for him. He was trolling, and he went in for a right. The Undertaker countered, and he chokeslammed JBL. He then grabbed JBL's arm, and he announced the match for SummerSlam. In the weeks leading to SummerSlam, JBL claimed that he wasn't afraid of The Undertaker. He wanted to prove it by calling the dead man out to the ring. At the end of the night, JBL did just that. He called out The Undertaker, and when he came out, well, it wasn't him. Taz called him the Undertoddler, and JBL wasn't backing down from this fight. He said that he doesn't want The Undertaker to take this lightly, and he started making fun of him. He was about to tombstone him when the actual Undertaker came out. Michael Cole was stuttering on the, that's the real Undertaker. JBL threw the fake Undertaker onto the real one, and the real one didn't budge. He let him fall to the mat. JBL's trying to back off, but then he got into it with a dead man. Just as the Undertaker was about to hit the tombstone, Orlando Jordan from out of nowhere saved Bradshaw. Then the fake Undertaker wanted to join in on the fun, and the real one was like, what the hell are you doing? He then chokeslammed him to end SmackDown. On the final SmackDown before SummerSlam, JBL introduced his new buddy, Orlando Jordan. He once again claimed that he isn't intimidated by The Undertaker, and he said that he is unlike all of the guys that came before him. He said that he has a plan, and he's going to exploit the weaknesses of The Undertaker. He guaranteed that they will beat him at SummerSlam, and he then gave the new Chief of Staff, Orlando Jordan, the microphone. He said that, like everyone, he waited for that big break. But then JBL showed him that if you really want something, you take it. He mentioned how he knocked it right out of the park by stopping The Undertaker dead in his tracks, and in doing so, he's proven that Orlando Jordan's time is now. Is this guy smoking something? JBL said that he's proud of Jordan, and due to this, he's arranged a matchup between Orlando Jordan and The Undertaker. Now, he was anything but happy about this. With JBL at his side, Orlando brought the fight to The Undertaker. He started to make a comeback during the match, and just as he was starting to fight back, JBL delivered a vicious clothesline from hell. The Undertaker sat up though, and JBL basically realized that there's no way he's winning on Sunday. At SummerSlam, the two had a long ass match. To be honest, it was boring. I remember the crowd did the wave. They were messing around during the match, and it was an uneventful contest, and the ending makes matters worse. The Undertaker blasted JBL with the title to give the champ a DQ win. It was pretty slow, and I didn't enjoy it last time I watched it. I thought they could have done better, but hey, they were saving the fight for the next match. The Undertaker continued attacking JBL after the match, and he chokeslammed him through the limo. What the hell is this? JBL spoke about his match at SummerSlam on the following week's SmackDown, and he claimed that The Undertaker robbed him of his glory. He said that what happened was horrible, and he made fun of the Canadian Army, which brought him a chorus of boos. JBL said that The Undertaker will never get a rematch. He will get nothing. The Undertaker then came out, and Orlando Jordan dragged JBL right out of there. The following week, the dead man finally got his hands on Bradshaw. He chokeslammed him before giving us a sign of what's to come. Right, this is where things get weird. On the September 9th, 2004 episode of SmackDown, Theodore Long booked JBL in the matchup against The Undertaker in the last ride match at No Mercy. JBL wanted to prove to the fans that he isn't afraid, so he decided to call out the dead man. Immediately afterwards, Bradshaw entered the ring and he made it clear, I'm gonna take care of The Undertaker. Out he came, the dead man. He even told Jordan to go to the back so he could watch this one. Those two brawled, and it was The Undertaker who had the upper hand. JBL then begged for mercy before smiling. Then all of a sudden, Orlando Jordan returned along with Gangrel. Then Viscera from out of nowhere ran straight into The Undertaker, and they continued their vicious assaults. And when they assumed he was out of it, he sat up. The Undertaker brought the fight to them, but then the numbers game came to play, and JBL hit the clothesline from hell. Viscera performed the splash twice, and that's it. JBL then showed how much respect he has for The Undertaker before walking away with the most random group. Obviously, The Undertaker destroyed them the following week, and they didn't appear on SmackDown afterwards. After witnessing this, JBL ran the hell out of there. On the final SmackDown before No Mercy, The Undertaker decided to send JBL a message by sacrificing Orlando Jordan. Now, all that remained was JBL. Anyways, at No Mercy, JBL suffered a severe ass kicking, but once again, he found a way to retain the title. Heidenreich, who had just debuted about a few weeks earlier, interfered and he cost him the match. Then to make matters worse, he rammed a truck into the hearse containing The Undertaker. I could have sworn this was featured in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and I think it was. JBL called himself the greatest champion of all time, and that's it. Finally, we steered clear from this feud. Not gonna lie, I like the segments, but the matches left a lot to be desired. Following this feud, JBL began a small feud with Hardcore Holly. After Josh Mathews informed him of this, JBL wasn't excited. He claimed that he's going out there for his fans, and he forced Josh to start a JBL chant. That match ended in a countout win for Hardcore Holly as JBL crawled the hell out of there. He wasn't feeling this one. Due to this victory, Theodore Long booked JBL in a hardcore match against Hardcore Holly for the WWE Championship. Despite the title match, JBL wasn't really pissed. Who am I kidding? It isn't JBL if he isn't complaining. He called himself a great technical wrestler, and he called himself an icon on Wall Street. He was so beaten up that he didn't know where he was. He continued disrespecting England before walking away. Now, just a reminder, Hardcore beat JBL 2 weeks in a row. Once before No Mercy, and once the previous week. As for this matchup, it was brutal and short. JBL delivered a rough-ass chair shot to retain the title, and it wasn't much, but I don't think it was bad. It wasn't that bad. On the October 21st, 2004 episode of SmackDown, Booker T complained about a tag match. He didn't want to partake in the main event, and Theodore Long managed to convince him to make an impact. Later that night, JBL and Orlando Jordan went up to Booker T, and he congratulated Bradshaw. He praised him for about a minute before calling Jordan a houseboy. He said that he's joking, and they were back on the same page. During the match, Booker T didn't really participate. Ray tagged him in, and all of a sudden, he smiled. JBL smiled too, and Booker told JBL that he'll take care of Ray. He grabbed Ray, and JBL went for the clothesline from hell. Booker T then pushed Ray out of the way, and he hit a devastating kick to JBL. He unloaded on the champ, and it seemed like Booker T was finally alive. He went on a roll before hitting the scissors kick on the champion to win the match. JBL couldn't believe what was going on. Now, if you watched Booker T in 2004, it felt like he was a bit lifeless after he got drafted to SmackDown. This was the first time he was electric and alive. Also, this was the first time JBL was pinned since before WrestleMania 20. JBL said that Booker's a great tag team wrestler, but just that. He began putting himself over before Booker approached him. The two had a heated confrontation with Booker telling JBL that he's afraid of him, and Orlando Jordan then chimed in and said that Booker is not even in his league. He said that if he, Booker T, wants JBL, then he's gotta go through him. And Teddy Long then appeared and he made the match. If Booker T beats Orlando, then the 5-time champion gets his match against JBL. Despite JBL's interference, Booker T beat Orlando Jordan to get his title shot at Survivor Series. Now, things would get weird. In the weeks leading to Survivor Series, Josh Mathews got involved in this. JBL blasted him in the head during an interview, and he basically had enough of JBL's antics. Later that night, Booker T demanded a handicap match against both JBL and Orlando. He didn't give a damn that he didn't have a tag team partner. The reason why he wanted this match was because he was attacked by them after a matchup with Orlando Jordan. Long told him to find a partner, to which he said no one in the locker room likes him. Josh Mathews then asked for him to be his partner, and Booker T's reaction said it all. Eventually he accepted because he thought of this as a glorified handicap match. During his entrance, Booker shoved him out of the way. As for the match, Josh Mathews showed flashes. I mean, he was on Tough Enough. He showed that his wrestling skills were about as effective as a single Spear Squad member. Maybe it's the clothes. I mean, he is wearing the green track pants. Jordan and JBL kicked his ass. They brutalized and bullied him. It wasn't until Booker T was tagged in that the complexion of the match changed. He was firing on all cylinders, and he single-handedly won the match for his team. Orlando didn't take this lightly, and we find him bullying Josh Mathews the following week. Booker T then dragged him into Theodore Long's office, and Mathews asked for a match against Orlando Jordan. All that from a slap? Like, he's bleeding from 2 slaps, that's it. Like, what's his overall, 46? Orlando Jordan walked to the ring confident in himself. I mean, why wouldn't he? Bloody Mathews was kind of ready to go. As for the match, Jordan no-sold most of Mathews' offense, and the bullying continued throughout the match. Jordan was basically going on autopilot, and Mathews once again bled during the match. On the outside, Booker T kicked JBL for throwing his head at him. JBL then tried getting into the ring, but ref prevented him from doing so. So Booker T capitalized on this by attacking Jordan, and Mathews then low-blowed him, and Booker hit the scissors kick. He then dragged Josh on top of Jordan, and he won the match. The crowd went crazy, and why wouldn't they? This was a magnificent upset. Like, Josh Mathews, the guy who does interviews, beat a future US champion. Right after this, JBL promised that if he loses, then he leaves SmackDown. As for the match, it wasn't bad. It wasn't special or anything like that, but at this point, it was one of JBL's best matches. During the match, Orlando Jordan continuously got involved, and this led to Josh Mathews interfering and tackling him to the ground. JBL then booted the hell out of him, and to make matters worse, he delivered a vicious clothesline from hell. Who knows, maybe JBL enjoyed that. Booker then recovered and he hit the scissors kick. As he went for the cover, there was no ref. Once Charles Robinson counted the fall, Orlando Jordan pulled him out of the ring. Due to this, he got a bookend for his efforts. JBL then capitalized on a distracted Booker T by blasting him with a title to retain his championship. Alright, following Survivor Series, I'd say this is when JBL began to find his footing as champion. At least that's what it felt like to me, because he began to insult the crowd, he began to have better promos. It's not to say his promos were bad or anything, but these were way better. On the November 18th episode of SmackDown, JBL hired Amy Weber, Randy Orton's enemy I believe, as his image consultant. He then went out to the ring and he bragged about his victory at Survivor Series. He compared himself to Michael Jordan, stating that Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and The Undertaker have been great champions, but they were unfortunately in the JBL era. The fans booed the hell out of him as he was claiming that these same people were cheering him. He continued putting himself over, calling himself the champion of America, before Booker T interrupted. He called out JBL on his statements and he asked for a rematch. Then Eddie Guerrero came out. He said that he's tired hearing about how great JBL is. He then mentioned their past feud and he reminded Bradshaw that he was the previous champion. He said that it was time to get the WWE Championship around Latino Heat's waist, and JBL tried leaving, but Booker wasn't having it. Then The Undertaker came out. He signaled his intentions and JBL got the hell out of there. He shouted that he ain't fighting any of them. None of you three hoodlums are getting a title match against JBL. Those are his words. Then Theodore Long appeared and JBL saw the writing on the wall. Like, he realized this guy is always screwing me one-on-one at SummerSlam and No Mercy at Survivor Series. This guy's always been screwing me over. The SmackDown GM said that the 3 men's title match requests have been denied. Instead, JBL will face all 3 of them. In the weeks leading to Armageddon, JBL showed that he does have a chance to retain the title. He added the Basham brothers to his group and they were collectively known as the Cabinet. On the final SmackDown, JBL demanded respect from the fans. He mentioned some of the all-time greats and he claimed that on their best day, they couldn't beat JBL and they never had to face insurmountable odds like he's gonna face at Armageddon. He claimed that he was getting screwed, and this Sunday, those 3 men don't even have to beat him for him to lose the title. He held Teddy Long and the 3 individuals responsible for Sunday. The Undertaker then appeared, but the numbers game came to play. It didn't matter because the Undertaker destroyed the Bashams, and JBL ran away once again. At Armageddon, the Cabinet were banned from ringside and JBL had to go out there alone. He was basically convinced that he's losing this one. Now as for the match, it was good. I enjoyed watching it. The 4 men put in a performance, and my favorite part was when the Undertaker no-sold the frog splash, so Eddie had to bring in a ladder to end this one. At least that's how I remember, I believe. Each man had their moment where they were on the verge of winning the title, but in the end, Heidenreich interfered and he cost the Undertaker the title. JBL then capitalized by hitting the clothesline from hell on Booker T to retain his title. Once again, JBL found a way to escape. On the December 16, 2004 episode of SmackDown, JBL decided to celebrate his victory at Armageddon. He bragged and bragged and bragged about his title reign. He proclaimed himself the champion of all champions as the fans booed. He said that the fans are ungrateful for not chanting his name, and as JBL continued speaking, Kurt Angle crashed the party. JBL hoped that Angle was out here to offer his congratulations, but Angle said that he wasn't out here for that. He called him out on his ridiculous claims. JBL shouted at him to shake his hand, congratulate him, and get the hell out of here. Angle then called himself the greatest champ of all time, and he mentioned Armageddon 2000. He mentioned how he beat 5 men in a 6-man Hell in a Cell, and he asked for JBL to not come out and have a ridiculous celebration, because he invented ridiculous celebrations. He then called JBL Bucko. The champ demanded that Angle refer to him as JBL, not Bucko. Angle didn't care, and JBL made fun of Angle's handicap match loss to the Big Show. Kurt Angle once again called JBL a Bucko, and he challenged him to a WWE title match. JBL liked this idea, but not tonight. He said that he celebrated this title victory all week and he's exhausted. But then JBL's favorite man, Teddy Long, came out. Like, does this guy have an issue with JBL? He made the match for later that night. JBL versus Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. Obviously, he was pissed. The match itself was a mess, not in a bad way. The Cabinet and Angle's proteges brawled, and Jordan caused the DQ. Then right after this, the Big Show came on and he destroyed everyone in sight. Big Show signaled his intentions, to which JBL was like, this title. Eventually, the match was made for the Rumble. In the weeks leading to the match, Amy Weber gave Angle the wrong idea. She led him into a room where Angle took off his clothes, and just as business was going down, it was the wrong person. Joy Giovanni ran the hell out of there, and she went up to the Big Show, who I believe was her boyfriend at the time. Angle tried explaining everything, but he wasn't having it. As for JBL, he was happy with what was going on, and it was revealed to be JBL's idea. Angle called out JBL on this the following week, and then he discovered Joy in the trunk of Bradshaw's limo. Then once again, the Big Show came out and he turned his tears of sadness into fury and he approached the cabinet. Despite their efforts, Big Show went berserk and he destroyed the group. Meanwhile, Angle was loving this. He basically planned this. Teddy Long then forced Kurt Angle to apologize to Joy, and Big Show once again, for the millionth time, came out. Then the cabinet decided, you know what, let's trap Kurt Angle. He was gonna get a beating from the Big Show or the cabinet. But then JBL smiled and it was revealed that these two were in cahoots, I believe. The two teams destroyed the Big Show and they left him laying. On the final SmackDown before the Rumble, the two teams disagreed with one another and they were back to what they were, enemies. Then to add insult to injury, Teddy Long booked both men in a last man standing match. Both men tried getting out of this match, but Teddy Long wasn't having it. During the match, they destroyed each other and they were resilient, but near the end of the match, JBL booted Kurt Angle and Angle rebounded with a wicked chair shot. Neither of them recovered and the match ended in a draw. It was then revealed to be Big Show's idea. Alright, let me just say that this triple threat match was filled with 12 minutes of action. Angle and JBL managed to get rid of Big Show for a bit. They had a mini match before the Giant returned, and he was on a roll. They did neutralize him for a bit, but nothing came out of it. Big Show then rammed JBL through the barricade, and it took Orlando Jordan grabbing him and throwing him into the ring to give JBL the victory after hitting a clothesline from hell on Kurt Angle. Once again, he survived. It took the cabinet to help him, but once again, JBL stood tall. I recommend you watch this one if you haven't, because it was fast-paced and overall it was enjoyable. But JBL didn't have much time to celebrate as Teddy Long announced JBL's next title defense against the Big Show at No Way Out in a barbed wire steel cage match. Then to make matters worse, Batista won the Rumble, and Teddy Long booked a SmackDown tournament with the winner going on to WrestleMania. So if Batista did move to SmackDown, it's a triple threat match at WrestleMania regardless. JBL shouted at Theodore Long and he told Cena that he's disgraced the US title by making it some bling bling sideshow. He even told Cena that he isn't in his league. The US champion responded by FUing the WWE champion. A week later, JBL shifted his focus back to the Big Show. He brought a tranquilizer gun to hurt the Giant, but this plan would backfire as Weber shot JBL. He claimed that he was fine, but he wasn't. He made fun of Carlito's hair, and later that night, he brought out Godzilla. He made himself look like an idiot. He called Big Show Barney, and he said that JBL stands for just beating a lizard. He was looking to fight a damn inflatable. He took off all his clothes, and then once again, the Big Show came out. It was then revealed that he was faking it, and he hit the clothesline from hell on the Big Show. The cabinet came out, but they failed in their efforts to stop the Giant. On the final SmackDown before No Way Out, JBL was concerned that Batista's coming to wreak havoc. JBL denied having anything to do with Monday, as Batista believed that it was JBL who tried running him down in the parking lot. He then accused Teddy Long of having something to do with this, and at the end of the night, JBL and the cabinet came out to the ring, and the WWE champion decided to call out Batista. Batista did appear, but not in the arena. Instead, he vandalized JBL's limo. The champ was fuming, but he couldn't do anything about it. He sent the cabinet to the back, but by the time they made it to the parking lot, Batista left. And then the Big Show appeared, and it was a freaking mess, but it was a mess in a good way. Like, it was really fun. The cabinet returned, and JBL managed to neutralize him for a bit, but then Batista returned. He destroyed everyone in sight while JBL watched in disdain. Then the Big Show woke up, and it was wild. JBL was pissed off at this, and he realized, sure, if I beat the Big Show, I still have to deal with Batista on the No Way Out winner. It's just such a stressful time for the champ. Now, that match between Big Show and JBL wasn't bad, but it wasn't memorable. The cabinet tried to make a difference, but Teddy Long wasn't having it. They did end JBL a bolt cutter, but this didn't give him the win. He tried to cutting the wire to find a way out, but the Big Show made him pay. He chokeslammed him right through the ring, and then Big Show walked to the cage door and he broke the chains. The fans were excited, and the Big Show was the new champion. As Big Show made it to the outside, Tony Chimel announced, and still the champion. Big Show was like, come on. He escaped the cage by crawling from under the ring, like, damn. They probably had a lot of people there, like, Big Show's going to WrestleMania? How? It's shocking. And once you see JBL, you're like, come on. The Big Show was going to let out all that anger on the champ, but then the cabinet came out. They ambushed the Big Show and Batista sprinted to the ring. He destroyed the cabinet once again while JBL watched in horror. But then the WWE Champion's new challenger emerged. John Cena attacked JBL and he slammed him through a table. At this point, he had 2 challengers. But wait, he didn't. You know why? Batista opted to stay on Raw and challenged Triple H for the title. Due to the victory at No Way Out, JBL decided to have another celebration. He was still feeling the effects of the matchup, and Orlando Jordan said that Bradshaw would go down as the greatest WWE champion of all time. The cabinet revealed the painting of the champ, and Cena chants intensified. JBL thanked the cabinet for this, and he made fun of Philadelphia sports team, and he said that today they could live through him a champion. You know, because, if you know about it, Super Bowl 39 just happened about a few weeks earlier, and he's tearing into them. He bragged about his victory at No Way Out, and he said that it's a miracle that he even survived. He said that his guarantees have never failed, and he claimed that Batista didn't come to SmackDown because he knew that he couldn't beat JBL. He said that he's a champion that the fans could never be like, and that his opponent, John Cena, does not have any of these qualities. Rich, elegant, class inside and outside the ring, and he proclaimed himself the wrestling god, and he once again called himself the greatest WWE champion. But once again, the Big Show crashed the party. He assaulted the guests, and he destroyed JBL's sculptures. He went through the cabinet, and all was left was JBL. That didn't last long as Jordan and the Bashams returned. They smashed a champagne bottle on his head, and then Cena ran down to make the save. He raised hell, and he smashed a painting through Bradshaw's head. Later that night, Cena and Big Show beat JBL and Jordan in a tag team match. Now, in the weeks leading to their matchup at WrestleMania 21, JBL cost John Cena the United States Championship, and he destroyed the Spinner US title. As a result of these incidents, Cena was pissed. He was sick and tired of JBL, and he called out the champ, but Teddy Long came out. He told Cena that he's got to wait till WrestleMania, and due to preventing him from getting to JBL, Cena decided, you know what, let's F you, Teddy Long. He did that, and later that night, Cena did assault the cabinet at the end of the night. JBL didn't take a beating, though, as he ran away. Following this, JBL tried to get into Cena's head. Seeing as Teddy Long enforced a no-touch rule, this was JBL's time to piss Cena off and not face repercussions. He insulted Cena's mother, and he asked for Cena to give him a shot. He called him a coward, but Cena backed off. He was wise, saving the pent-up anger for the main event a few minutes later. Cena later that night debuted The Time Is Now, and he went straight after JBL. Despite the match ending in a Ray and Eddie and John Cena victory, JBL nearly struck Cena with the chair. John grabbed the chair, and he was on the verge of blasting JBL with it. However, he controlled his temper and instead walked away. On the March 24, 2005 episode of SmackDown, Teddy Long had both men come face to face. Cena capitalized on the no-touch rule by slashing his tires. He vandalized the limo by spraying JBL socks, and JBL claimed that Cena was jealous because he has money. He said that Cena's going to be robbed of his dignity at WrestleMania, and Cena responded to this by stating that JBL does have a point. He's got no class. Obviously, the fans backed him and they cheered for him, and he said that this could be solved if he wore a tie. He cut off Bradshaw's tie, and he said that he feels like a banker in this. He said that he didn't like it, and he asked JBL if he wants to throw a punch. JBL refused to do so, saying that Cena could play stupid games alone. He then took JBL's hat, and he poured water into it to test if it's a 10-gallon hat. He said that it's only 1 gallon, and he gave JBL his hat back, and in the process of doing so, he got him wet. He said that JBL had an accident on himself, and the champ was fuming. He wanted to do something about this, but he realized that if he struck Cena, that means Cena could strike back. The leader of the chain gang threatened JBL, stating that if he throws a punch, then he swears that he'll knock the hell out of him. Cena then added insult to injury by spray painting JBL's shirt, and he wrote F you on the front. Damn, he's being disrespectful. On the final SmackDown before WrestleMania, JBL had John Cena arrested for vandalism. He physically provoked Cena, but he couldn't really do anything about it. He then kicked him in the balls, claiming that it's self-defense, and he mocked him as SmackDown went off the air. At WrestleMania, JBL confronted the other brand's champion. Triple H mocked him, and JBL said that he's the only champion in history to never lose. Triple H told JBL that he should keep telling himself that he's good, and someday, someone's gonna believe him. Triple H then said that they'll have to wait till the end of the night to see who's champ. Anyways, JBL had the police escort him to the arena, and John Bradshaw Layfield dollar bills fell from the rafters. At this point, he was champion for 280 days. He beat the likes of Eddie Guerrero, The Undertaker, Booker T, The Big Show, and Kurt Angle. He sent Orlando back into the limo, which basically meant that he was confident in his abilities. Now, the match itself was not bad, but the way they built it seemed like a personal feud, but it came off as a non-title match. Maybe in storyline, and this is how I explain a lot of things in my mind, that's the way I look at these things, they were wise realizing that this was WrestleMania. Throughout the match, JBL dominated. He used his size as an advantage, hitting some tackles and clotheslines, and it wasn't until Cena hit a power slam in midair on JBL that the complexion of the match changed. He started to make a comeback. He hit rights and shoulder blocks before performing the 5-knuckle shuffle. He pumped his shoes, but then JBL booted him. JBL went for the clothesline from hell, but Cena ducked it, and he connected with the FU. 1, 2, 3. Cena's the champion. His reaction says it all. It looks like he's biting the freaking title. Finally, JBL's title reign was over. You could say what you want about this title reign, but JBL made Cena a star. I mean, he was already going to be a star, but this guy was the perfect foil for him. The title match was lacking in intensity, but they got the job done at least. Now, about JBL's title reign, I feel like he started to fit the role in like December. From there, I felt like he was on a roll. And yeah, sure, his matches weren't very great, but he was such a great heel. I mean, I know live event attendance were down at the time and stuff like that, but can you blame him for that? I believe they were down when Eddie was champion too, but I can't really blame that on Eddie either. I blame it on Lesnar leaving and the SmackDown roster being weak as hell at the time. The TV ratings did fall when JBL was champ, but still, I still feel like he was such a good heel. But everyone has their opinion, and I understand why some people say this title reign sucked, as they literally got a mid-carder, not even a mid-carder, a lower mid-carder, and they made him champion. But for me, I say this was a good title reign. It might have lasted a bit long, but by the end of it, it felt good. And that's it for this video. The next title reigns I'm going to cover are Cena and Batista's, so expect those soon, and they'll be separate videos unless you guys want a full 1 hour video where I go back and forth. Like, as for Batista, he was facing JBL on this week, and John Cena, meanwhile, on Raw was speaking to Jericho. Unless you guys want that, like, that would be a hard-ass video to make. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit a powerbomb on the like button, and perhaps a clothesline from hell on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.